Before we jump into the next clip, I just want to tell you real quick, we got a new audio network. Go to tyt.com/audio and get all of our new podcasts.
Following news of White House officials retaliating against a CNN reporter by the name of Kaitlan Collins for asking Donald Trump tough questions, a number of members of the press came out in support of Collins. They said that they stood in solidarity with Collins. The president of Fox News said that Fox as an organization stands behind Collins. Even Bret Baier covered this on his show and said that he supported Collins and disagreed with what the Trump administration did. There was one person who went rogue, by the way, and that person is Lou Dobbs, who is one of the anchors on Fox Business. So he actually agreed with what Donald Trump did, and
of course he did.
And we have a video to prove it. So let's hear from Lou Dobbs.
CNN issued a statement saying in part, quote, "This decision to bar a member of the press is retaliatory in nature and not indicative of an open and free press. We demand better." I guess my question would be, who the hell are you? The president does insist on respect. Now that's what the White House has to put up with? Are you kidding me? Anyway, all I have to say about that is it's about time there were consequences for disrespectful behavior in the White House.
Okay, so there's Lou Dobbs saying she was being disrespectful. It's about time a president retaliates against that form of disrespect. Unacceptable. I stand by the president. That is what Lou Dobbs is saying there.
He's very clear, Anna.
Very clear. However, he did not have the same standards for our former president, Barack Obama.
No, really?
So let me set up this situation for you, okay? So back in 2012, Obama's giving a speech. And there was a right-wing reporter who decided to start interrupting him as he's giving this speech. So to be clear, this situation is different from what Kaitlan Collins experienced. Kaitlan Collins was in a chaotic Oval Office situation where she was, basically questioning the president and was denied any answers, but it wasn't as if Trump was in the middle of giving a speech. In this case, back in 2012, Neil Monroe, formerly of the Daily Caller, drew a lot of attention when he tried to ask Barack Obama several questions on immigration in the middle of his address. And so here is how it all went down. We have video of it. Take a look.
It is the right thing to do. Excuse me, sir. It's not time for questions, sir. Not while I'm speaking. And the answer to your question, sir, and the next time I'd prefer you let me finish my statements before you ask that question, is this is the right thing to do for the American people. Baby, I didn't ask for an argument. I'm answering your question. It is the right thing to do for the American people, and here's why. Here's the reason.
Okay, so I want to explain the context of how reporters normally conduct themselves. Okay, so you know that we at the Young Turks, we're for more aggressive reporting, and we hope the journalists are more aggressive overall, right? So, but you do need some degree of decorum. So if you don't let the president speak at all, then that's counterproductive. And but when it is time for questions, you should go as hard as you can. So if that same guy, Neil Monroe, had asked the same exact questions when it was time for questions, great, and shout it, scream it if you want, and there's nothing wrong with it. So in the context of what Kaitlan Collins did, she was representing the whole TV industry because they pool reporters because you can't fit everybody into that room. So and they take turns. So sometimes it'll be NBC, sometimes it'll be Fox News. In this case, it was CNN, and Kaitlan Collins was the pool reporter for all of television. And her job, as soon as the event is over, like the others, and you see it in the tape, the newspaper guys ask questions and they shout out questions. The TV guys shout out questions. That is exactly the right way to do it. That is the right form for it, that's the right time for it. In the case of a president giving a speech, if all the reporters start asking questions in the middle of the speech, he can't give the speech.
Right.
And that's what was happening. No other reporter was asking any questions there except Neil Monroe back in 2012. So that's why it was not the right context. Otherwise, I have no problems with his questions, and I don't care that he's right wing. Right wing gets to ask the questions just as much as anybody does. Of course, they almost never allow any left wing people into the White House, whether it's Obama's or Trump's, but still, I don't care. They're allowed to ask any questions they like. Now, the question is, we have the same exact standard. Did Lou Dobbs have the same standard?
Well, you would be shocked to find out that he did not have the same standard. And even though Monroe was clearly interrupting Obama during his speech, here is what Lou Dobbs said on his show. He said, quote, this is graphic 32. Well, the fact is, after he made his statement, the president took no questions. Okay, let's stop for a second. He did answer his question, which was clear in the tape that we showed you. I don't know if you had the opportunity to go on Twitter and listen to the clucking of all the people going, it's against the decorum of the White House and it's rude to the president. What's rude is the president not speaking to the American people and taking the questions of the White House press.
It's amazing, man. Like, Lou Dobbs, I imagine, unless he's gone senile, which is possible, or never really had a mind to begin with, but like he's got to know, 2012 was not 1982, it was just 6 years ago,
right,
that he said about Obama, like, yeah, of course you should interrupt the president. It's rude not to interrupt him. Then he turns around now and goes, how dare they ask a question? He didn't even interrupt Trump. She didn't interrupt Trump at all, right? How dare she ask the question? It's about time there was consequences for rudeness like that. How do you say that with any degree of conscience? But that's the answer is he doesn't have a conscience. These guys who support Trump unquestioningly have no shame at all. So that is 100% hypocrisy.
It is hypocrisy, and I think that the primary reason why that hypocrisy exists is the partisanship and his support for Trump versus his disdain for Obama. So I'm not trying to minimize that. I think that that's front and center of his reasoning, right? But I also wonder if the gender of the person asking the questions also either consciously or subconsciously plays a role, because Lou Dobbs is just from a different time, right? When you don't have women aggressively asking a man in a position of power questions about his conduct or controversies. And I don't know, I thought that was interesting because I'm naive in a lot of cases. I don't really think about my gender and how it impacts me when I'm asking someone a question or if I'm going after someone aggressively in a story that we're doing. But like recently I've become more and more aware that when a male colleague does the same thing, it's strength. But when a woman does it, it gets misconstrued as something completely different. So I'm just wondering, I'm just throwing that out there.
Okay, but look, let me add to that because there's a confluence of factors, and we don't live in the same black and white world that the right wing does. Like it's either sexism or it's not sexism, it's either great or it's terrible, right? So maybe that's a part of the influence of Lou Dobbs. Other things that matter are what publication you're from.
Right.
And so it's CNN, so the whole press rallies around them. By the way, when Obama once did two different things. He didn't sit down for a Sunday interview with Chris Wallace when he was doing the other Sunday shows, which he has every right to do. He could choose whoever he's gonna get interviewed by. But one time he did do something wrong, in my opinion. They banned Fox News from getting interviewed in a pool reporter situation, similar, not exactly the same, but similar to Kaitlan Collins, and in which case I don't think that was right. See, we're actually honest about that. And then everybody rallied around Fox News. Part of it is because these guys who work on cable news think, I might one day work for CNN. I might one day work for Fox News. And they have some solidarity, but overall it's a good thing they have solidarity. But when Jorge Ramos was asking tough questions of Trump in a perfectly appropriate setting after he was done speaking, they did not rally around Jorge Ramos. And I remember a lot of the cable news guys coming out and going, well, that seemed a bit rude the way Ramos was aggressively asking questions. So it depends on your publication.
Yeah.
The Daily Caller, oftentimes, even though they're conservative and oftentimes make up stories, right? Including right before an election, they clearly have an agenda. They don't admit their agenda. And on top of that, I mean, there are serious, significant charges about how they fabricated news to try to affect elections. They are conservative, so generally more welcome in Washington, whereas progressive outlets.
I mean, is there a single progressive outlet represented in that group of White House reporters? A single progressive.
But Washington despises progressives. In their worldview, of course, they would answer, what do you mean? MSNBC. Look at Joe Scarborough, lifelong Republican, but criticizes Trump. Okay, I mean, and MSNBC filled to the rim with corporate Democrats, right? and almost all of them argued against progressives like Bernie Sanders. But in their worldview, they're like, how much more left can we get than Joe Scarborough, right? So that gives you a sense of the different playing field there is. So that might have been a factor. There's a lot of different factors that go into it. The one thing that is inescapable is Lou Dobbs' hypocrisy.
Yeah.
Right? No matter why he did it, it's super clear that he doesn't give a damn. I don't like Obama, you interrupt him all you like. I love Trump, I will defend him no matter what. You ask him perfectly appropriate questions and how dare you? 2 easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below, then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.